Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Nightmare on Scam Street. I've just set up a flight that I've done before, but I haven't actually succeeded in planting the landing. Personally, I think Juneau, which is the capital of Alaska, is a bit tricky. You haven't got proper full guidance into the airport. Well, you have, but it's not the same as ILS. The other issue, if you're doing it manually, if you're doing a manual landing, there's lots of stuff that gets in the way. There's little hills in islands on the flight path that you really don't want to hit. And despite not wanting to hit them, I have done so regularly. This van's going to get out of my way because I'm going to drive through it if it doesn't. Weird thing about obstacles on runways and taxiways. You can set it to crash if you hit, for example, Venice has a tree right at the very front of the runway, right at the very approach end, and it's high enough that if you're just a little bit below no, it's telling us to hold position for other traffic, which there won't be any. This is a classic thing you get when you're taxiing in this airport. If I go external, there'll be nothing around us anywhere. A pointless hold, however. I like to stamp their authority. So this tree at the right at the start of the runway at Venice, I've clipped it twice, and it's a catastrophic clip. You think, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm just going to barely touch the tree. And next thing you know, you've got the sad music playing and the little notice saying you have collided with an object. Which is annoying to say the least. Obviously, if you're flying a really good setup approach and you're stable, everything is good, exactly the right height, exactly the right glide slope, you just miss the tree. But drop down on the glide slope a little bit and off you go. Right, so I think they've had their fun. I'm going to start moving again. There is no other traffic. There's no traffic landing. There's no traffic waiting to taxi. Oh, I know. Brake. Got my analog brake on, which was stopping us moving, and I couldn't work out what it was. So usually once we get past this junction on the left here, it'll say continue taxi. Some people have asked me why I start on a pad or in a parking area rather than just as if I was flying directly from the airport. Well, you need to set up the plane. You need to set up the flight paths. You know, the actual flight itself. There's lots of things you need to set up, and you have to do these things on this plane. It's not like one of the basic Microsoft flight sim planes that once. Yeah, okay, I'll continue taxi. Yeah, so some of the Microsoft planes, you can just literally fly them out of the box. You don't need any setting up. If you make a route using the world map and you put your destination and your departure airports in, and it gives you a route, you can just basically fly that. That doesn't happen with the Fenix aircraft. It takes its route from SimBrief, so you have to put your route in SimBrief externally to Flight Sim, and then you load it in. And that's a big difference, because once you've loaded in SimBrief's flight plan, you then have to tweak it to make it work properly, because SimBrief's flight plan is quite often not quite right. And we are approaching the whole point for the runway now. Start slowing down, using the analog brakes to slow us. So there's lots of things you need to set up on the aircraft before you're ready to get near the runway. So making my departure position a gate is how I achieve that. A little bit further, and then the AI will realize that I'm ready to taxi. So it's quite a pleasant flight, this one. I think I've just got it set to clear sky. A bit lazy like that. Okay, that'll do. So now we want to contact the tower and request takeoff clearance.
Whitehorse Tower, NOS 5, November, Oscar, Sierra 5, at runway 14 right, ready for departure IFR to Juneau.
And we're expecting them to give us the current QNH. Set that on both of those. Same with this one.
Cleared for takeoff runway 14 right, NOS 5, November, Oscar, Sierra 5.
Right, to get ready for takeoff, we need our spoilers armed. A bit jumpy today, I don't know why. Maybe a bit laggy on the internet or something. The auto brake is set to maximum, and I've already got flaps 1 set, so if we now press the takeoff config button, we should get the message takeoff normal. Takeoff normal, perfect. So you can see on the radar there's a lot of high ground directly in front of us. We're actually going to be flying away from that. Yeah. Whoa, it's a bit jumpy. I don't know what's going wrong with this today. It's certainly a bit lumpy. Right, so we're going to need to get set up so that I can see the speed. We're ready to go, so brakes off, bit of throttle, get round onto the runway. The question I always ask myself, is it better to leave my computer running completely all the time, or switch it off when it's not in use? Good morning, Mr. Grunstruck. I always leave mine running. Not very economical, but I've got some of those little computer, little apps run that help calculate things in the background, and that's what they do at night. So here we are at the end of the runway, so let's make sure we're all set up. We can put our strobe on now. We've got the everything else is on where it should be. Just pull that down so I can see the speed. If this doesn't work out and it looks horrible, I'm going to abort and restart. So here we go. Half throttle. Full throttle. And away we go. So I've got slight downward pressure on the nose. That's to make sure that the steering, the nose wheel has got grip. If I didn't have that downward pressure, it's possible that the nose wheel would lift off a little bit and I would find I wouldn't be able to get running down the center of the runway nicely. So our V1 VR is 140, and we're there now, so we can safely take off into the blue. Lovely. Gear up. Flaps.
Going to 13.15 knots 5 November Oscar Sierra 5. Edmonton Center knots 5 November Oscar Sierra 5 is passing 4,000 feet, climbing 13,000 feet. Knots 5 November Oscar Sierra 5 Edmonton Center QNH 29er Animal Liner 2. Continue to climb as planned. Knots 5 November Oscar Sierra 5. Keep speed, not above 240 knots. Keep speed not above 240 knots, knots 5 November Oscar Sierra 5.
So we've got a speed restriction here. So I did another COVID test this morning and it was strongly positive. This is day, what's today's Thursday? I tested positive Tuesday last week. So yeah, strongly positive still. And it feels like I should be as well, to be honest. I'm in a little bit of a feeling better phase right at this minute, but it changes so quickly. I don't know what the criteria is for the autopilot to engage itself. Or not itself. When the autopilot allows itself to be engaged. That's the way I should have said it. Because you can be bang on the flight director and having a really good time keeping the lines in the cross in the box and so on, but the autopilot just doesn't want to know for some reason sometimes. So I want to find out if you have a positive COVID test and then like 8 or 10 days later you have another one that's still positive. Are you still infectious? So we're being held to a speed engage the autopilot. I wanted to be able to have a look outside. Yeah, so I first tested positive last Tuesday. That would be what, 9 days ago? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, 9 days ago. And when I did a check this morning, I was absolutely positive. You know how the test line changes to a nice little rosy pink colour, and mine just went immediately to dark red, even as the test liquid was passing it. Let's have a look outside. I love my airplane's livery. It was done by Saul. There's his contact details. He's extremely good at doing these. So there's my email address, nightmailelines@gmail.com. The YouTube channel. I'm not thinking of breaking out into any of the other social medias. YouTube is okay for me. I'm not that bothered about being up to date on TikToks and flying for like 10 seconds and then maybe I could do the landing in Venice, clipping the tree. TikTok that. I remember before the internet arrived, my wife and I having a discussion about, when we get internet in our area, I'll definitely have to have that. And her first thoughts were, why? What would you need it for? I said, well, if you want to send emails or buy stuff, it was like all that sort of stuff. Who would want to do that? Anyway, we eventually got it. Back in the good old days of a dial-up modem and that sort of thing. I had to book time to get on the computer. That's how crazy it was. She'd literally just suddenly got hooked on it. Which was good, because it was nice that she had an interest in something, but my goodness me, it was tough getting on. And it would be a case of I'd be doing something and then, can I just use the computer just for a minute? I just need to write so-and-so an email. And next thing you know, an hour's gone past and he's still not anywhere near it. So, quick look outside again. Lovely mountains. Snow covered. I'd imagine that's realistic for this time of year. And the height. It's pretty much a straight ride in. I think we go down here and then scoop off around to the left into Juneau. Now, you can see something weird's happening with the scenery here. I've got this scenery enhancement app running. Which is supposed to make the scenery better and more accurate by using Google Map images, and you can see some good scenery here. I've got it switched off now, so because it seems to have a limited range. Obviously I'm up high looking down. If I was looking down directly below me, we'd see the scenery as it is. Uh-oh. So, am I still streaming? That's the question. If you could see me, if you can still see me, just let me know in the comments. It's connected again now. I think it was just disconnecting that stupid little piece of software. Where are we supposed to be going to? We're supposed to be going to 250, that's okay. Yeah, Streamlabs hasn't come up and said it's having a problem. I'll just keep going. So we're up to our height, altitude. ETP is the roughly the middle point of the trip, where it's just as quick to go back as it is to go forwards. And that arrow there means when we should be starting our descent. These dotted blue lines are the route that we would get back if we had a failure, failed landing or missed approach or whatever. So right now I'm going to leave the seat belts on. I should have taken them off, but I always forget the seat belts. We can turn the spoiler, disarm that just now. So we've got 20, 40, 60, 80 miles to go before we have to go down. So this is the start of descent here. So if we look at the flight plan, we should see these are weird numbers. That's the trouble when you're flying in a country that doesn't use standard. So that's saying 5,600. Oh, that's literally, that means 5,600. That's what that means. The star donates that we're below the setting point where you would change the barometers. The barometers, absolutely critical. There's one there on the pilot side, one there on the first officers, and a standby one. The aircraft uses these to determine how high it is, and the way it does that is by looking at the barometric pressure and how much it's changed. and it has a whole list of ways of calculating from the height, from the barometric pressure, the height. However, if you're coming in for a landing and they say go to let's just put it on, say they said 29.98, you'd think, oh, that's only a small change. That could be a couple of 100 feet. And remember I was talking about the tree at the end of the runway at Venice? Absolutely critical that the settings are correct. We're now in decelerate mode. Now, I hate the word decelerate. It's not a proper engineering term. We're actually negative acceleration is the only way to really say it. But so we should be coming down pretty much now. Let's make sure our flight plan's in the right place. There we go. 250, and by the time we get to HNS, we should be coming down to 229. So HNS is in this lot somewhere. There's HNS, so we should be coming down soon. What tends to happen though is that ATC give you a block change rather than lots of little changes. So quick look outside. It's looking a bit misty now. No, it's fine. So yeah, beautiful. Absolutely love the scenery. So I think Juneau's around there somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. It's in that sort of area. Let's look at this again. We've got some, that's our next waypoint. These are the waypoints, and if we look on, if we put constraints on, remember what I said about giving us a block change rather than lots of little changes. So we'll put that in manual vertical speed mode, so because wow. So they've given us a tricky task. Get down to 3,800 feet. 3,400. Oops. So what we want to do, let's have a look at this, and it will tell us where we're going to reach that speed. This blue arrow here tells us which point we're actually going to reach 3,400 feet. Now, it's fairly close to the final turn in for the runway, so we could change that slightly by putting some air brakes on. So if we set them at level 1, you see that that point has moved. If we set it at full, hasn't made a great change, but it's made a little change. We want to also control our speed down to 240 or less. So that's the speed we can safely pop the landing gear out. And we need to be below 30 to get our first. In fact, we need to be below 215 to get our flap and leading edge spoiler down. Now, while we're going down this fast, we're actually having problems with speed because the aircraft is like effectively going down in a controlled dive. If we let the computer do it all, I don't think we'd get down quickly enough. It's got a lot of height to lose in a relatively short time. You see, we're a few miles away yet, so we're not doing too bad. We've got 10, 20, we're about 30 miles away from the airport, slightly more. What I'll do is I'll take over when we get near the airport and fly by hand. That'll give us another chance to have a good crash. The aircraft is complaining that the speed brake has been out too long, so I'll pop it in the armed position. So we're not going to get down to 3,400 feet before then. And at that point, the constraints are that we need to be around 5,600. And that's the glide slope as approved by the maps, etc. Okay, so everything is going as it should be. So we're going to get down to speed, to altitude of 3,400 there. Unfortunately, we should be at 5,600, but I think I'll just leave it, let it go. This blue line's our escape line. If we put the terrain on, we'll see that there's some big lumps of rock in the way if you carry straight on at the runway. So I think I might set this at 5,600. That'll fit in better with the glide slope. Air traffic control will complain, but meh. So that's moved our line to there. Let's get a little bit other way. Always get the other wrong way. Ah, here's an issue. I don't know what the ILS. Oh, there's no ILS. Of course there isn't.
Juneau Tower, Nos 5 November Oscar, Sierra Flight, inbound, RNAV Victor runway 8 approach. Juneau Tower, Nos 5 November Oscar, Sierra Flight, inbound, RNAV Victor runway 8 approach.
So we should be seeing the airport over here. We always have to end up going over some sort of mountainous area. I think that's Juneau around there. Pop the gear out. There's the runway, so we need to go over to the left a bit. Don't worry about that. That's just a slight overspeed because of flaps. I'm fixing that right now. There we go. That's one of the lumps it's easy to bump into. Okay. Need to be over to the right some more. So far we're on flaps 2. It's another bit of foliage you can hit quite easily there. I've gone over. I told you this was going to be a funny landing. Ha ha ha. Right, I wasn't lined up for that at all, was I? So we'll go around. Well, that took a bit of getting out of. So we've got gear up, flaps in, so we're just going to come around, turn around for another attack. We'll probably go to, what's that one called? Barlow. Oh, Zulil is the only one that there is. No, that's no good. Barlo. BARL. Oh, this is where having a first officer makes all the difference. It's very, very work intense, this. Oh, even let me put the autopilot on for that. So we're coming around to Barlow. We really ought to go out to SSR, which would give us a better run in. Okay, so here's the plan. We're going to go to SSR, and then I'm going to link TP to Zulia just by removing these Okay, so we've got the same wind, we've got the same QNH, and we've got the same chance of landing. I've not landed at Juneau. I really haven't managed to land there. I don't know, because there's so many distractions when you're coming in, and you really can't have those distractions. The workload when you're trying to get in is really quite intense. Right, there's our flight plan. So we want to be at, they told us to drop, didn't they? 3,400, but I'm still rising. No, we're not going down very quickly, so we'll give it some welly on the downward go. So according to our blue line, we'll be at 3,400 there, just past SSR. It's just stunning, the views, aren't they? I love the views around here. I didn't know until recently that Juneau, the capital of Alaska, is unreachable by land. You can't drive there. I guess you could walk there, but the only way in is boat or plane. Which I find really strange. It'd be like London being an island that no one could get to. So we're going around the top of our predetermined curve. By the way, if you are watching, I know there's a couple of you watching just now, but if you wouldn't mind helping out a little bit and giving a quick click on the like button or something like that, anything for the YouTube bots to understand what I'm doing, because as I've said before, I was very active on YouTube and I had all the facilities that one would expect, and then had a couple of years off, and my a few of my privileges were removed. Clearly I can still live stream, but I can't use ads, I can't do any monetization and stuff like that. So getting built back up to where I was seems to be an impossible mountain to climb, because I've got to reach so many thousand hours of viewing, and it's changed by about half an hour in the past week. So I'm making some videos that, yeah, look, we are in danger of hitting that lump. So I'm going to take action here. Not anymore, there isn't. Don't panic. So his collision avoidance system can be such a sissy sometimes. So what I did was turn off autopilot. As soon as you get a clear on in, I'll turn back into towards Juneau. In fact, I'll do that now. I'm going to turn in on the path that we had coming out. Oop, bit of a sharp. Hush. I don't even know why you're making that noise. There's nothing big showing up in the radar now. So that's Juneau there, which is nearly 20 miles away. Just have a nice cruise in. Might be able to see Juneau from here. Over there somewhere. So we've got this lump to work past. So what I believe I'm going to do is go to the left of that. I actually flew from it. There's an airport on this lump, I think. And one of the standard flight simulator models is actually a drone type aircraft. Use, you know, an electric powered drone. It's quite fun to fly, a bit slow. But I took off from there and went into Juneau, which was quite interesting. So that's Juneau there, I think. So I'm going to come round until we're lined up with Juneau. This is pure VFR now. I'm not really using any instruments to tell me where it is because there's no ILS there. We can put the gear down just now. Don't know what that is. And another one. Wow, weird stuff. Looks like the aliens have taken over. Nope. One of my neighbours is doing something on their car outside. That's what the banging is. I'm not going to go around again.
Juneau Tower, now 5 November Oscar, Sierra 5 is going missed. Going to 133.9er, now 5 November Oscar, Sierra 5. Houston, now 5 November Oscar, Sierra 5 is missed approach to head Juneau.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll go and have a look at what that tower is that suddenly appeared. I'm not trying to land anymore, I'm just flying. I think the aliens must have landed. I mean, they look a bit like buildings, but no idea.
Terrain ahead. Oh, up.
Look at all the dots around them.
Terrain ahead. Oh, up. Terrain ahead. Oh, up.
Weird, isn't it? Oh, it's changed again. There's another one down there. Weird stuff going on in Alaska here. I reckon my computer needs a reset. Give the old graphics card a chance to cool off a bit as well. Notice how a lot of the scenery is being generated as we go. Normally it's much cleaner than that. So where are we compared to Juneau? Do you know where we are? My granddaughter thought that the joke, do you know the capital of Alaska? Or Juneau, capital of Alaska? And she, no, I don't know. Why would I know that? I said, well, look, think about it. Do you know the capital of Alaska? And oh my goodness, it was fun. This is going to be a dump it on the ground approach. We have lots of alarms because we've got the flaps out. We're over speeding. There's the runway there. We're definitely going to get to it this time. No, full flaps. Holding speed okay. My one viewer dedicated to the watching me crash, I think. I am not climbing to 9,000 feet. I'm landing. We're doing all right. So gears down. We've got maximum. We've got braking on. Huh. I'll be dishing out the neck braces. The cabin crew will be there to help you with that. Thank you for flying Nightmare Lines. The name says it all. No, I should have gone around again, but to be honest, I've got a time constraint and I need to be doing something, so that's my excuse for just dumping it on the ground. Well, thank you for watching. This is where I'm going to end. I don't normally go right way to the gate and disembark the passengers. I think we need a couple of ambulances this time. It's one of those things. So thanks for watching, and I'll be doing another flight later today, probably this evening. Let's see, around about 3 p.m. Zulu, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Well, Yeah, 3 p.m. Zulu. And I'll be doing a fairly short flight, but I'll do a engine fire. I've been practicing this a bit. It's quite work intensive, so I won't be able to say much while I'm doing it. But you could definitely do with someone reading the actions. But it's I've done it a couple of times and managed it. So anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.